This is the Read to Lead podcast, episode 510.
Hi, I'm Arlene Pellicane, author of numerous books including Calm, Cool, and Connected, 5 Habits for a More Balanced Life. Get even more tips for a balanced life every time you listen to this. It's the Read to Lead podcast with my friend, Jeff Brown.
Hi, I'm Jeff. Welcome to the show all about personal and professional development and intentional and consistent reading as a part of that personal and professional development. I'm so glad you're here. I've decided to do another solo episode this week. We'll kick off our first interview of 2024 next week. My scheduled guest, by the way, is Todd Henry, who I believe will be making his 5th visit to the show, maybe his 6th. I got to go back and count him up, but it's at least his 5th visit to the show, and that means Todd Henry is the guest making the most return visits in the 10 and a half years of this show. 5 visits in 10 years. But it's because he does fantastic work. Next week, we'll be talking about his book, The Brave Habit, a guide to courageous leadership. I want to talk this week about legacy. I talked a little bit about that when I shared a bit about my friend Dan Miller, another author who's appeared on the show several times. I think Dan's been here 4 times now. I want to talk about, with regard to legacy, what it is, how to build it, and more importantly, how do we ensure that the legacy we leave is the one we actually want to leave? So let's explore this together. First, with 5 thought-provoking questions. Now, before I get into the questions, I want to share with you these same questions are questions I posed last Thursday to members of my Read to Lead Plus community online. They're pondering these questions, these same questions this week, and we're all coming back together this coming Thursday, January 18th, to discuss some of their answers. Now, if this is something you'd like to participate in, you can join us for free on Thursday with your free 2-week trial of a Read to Lead Plus membership. If you decide to stay after that 2 weeks, it's just $9 a month. You can see at jeffbrown.me all that is in store for you in addition to these live twice-a-month sessions. Again, jeffbrown.me for all the info. Question number 1 is about reflecting on influence. So here's the question. You may want to write this down. This is a great episode to listen to while you're at your desk versus, say, driving, because a pen and paper is going to prove quite useful for this episode. So the first question is to ask yourself, who has had the most significant impact on my life and why? Who has had the most significant impact on my life and why? Now, this question isn't just about remembering somebody fondly, but understanding the why behind their influence. It's going to guide you to think about the kind of impact you want to leave on other people. For example, was it their kindness or their wisdom or their unwavering support that touched you? When I think of, again, my friend Dan Miller, I think he did all 3 of those things. It was his kindness, it was his wisdom, it was his unwavering support. And reflecting on this can help shape the legacy that you wish to create. Again, who has had the most significant impact on my life and why? Question number 2 is about visualizing the future. Here's the question. Imagine it's 50 years from now. What would I want people to remember about me? Now, it's not about fame or material success, but the values and actions you'd like to be remembered for. And it's a powerful way to align your current path with your long-term legacy goals. Think of it as crafting your life's mission statement, in other words. Again, the question is, imagine it's 50 years from now. What would I want people to remember about me? Next, we delve into how you define success. Question 3 is exactly that. How do I define success, and how does it relate to the legacy I want to leave? This helps bridge the gap between your daily actions and your long-term legacy. Things you do today don't often have immediate benefits or results. Everything you do today, though, will have or can have long-term results, long-term legacy impact. Now, whether success means touching lives through your work, fostering a loving family, or contributing to your community, understanding this can guide your steps toward a meaningful legacy. Next, it's values and contributions. Our 4th question focuses on your core values. Here it is. What values are most important to me, and how do I want to express them through my actions? Now, this is about ensuring that the legacy you leave is a true reflection of who you are. For instance, if education and learning are your core values, those are a couple of mine, how are you advancing these in your life and in the lives of others? And then for question 5, let's bring it back to the present. Consider this question: what are small ways I can start building my legacy in my daily life? This emphasizes that legacy building is an ongoing process, not just a future goal, right? It could be as simple as mentoring a colleague or volunteering or even how you interact with your family and friends. Remember, every action counts. Now what I want to do is take a couple of these questions and go a little deeper with some actual exercises related to the questions. We don't have time to go deep into exercise land with all 5, but I thought at least a couple would sort of help get the ball rolling for you, okay? And again, this is something we're going to be going into much more detail on in this Thursday's private session with members of my Read to Lead Plus community. Find out more at jeffbrown.me. Our first question, remember, was who has had the most significant impact on my life and why? So for this first exercise, let's identify role models and analyze their legacies. This is going to help you understand the types of legacies that resonate with you and how you can incorporate similar qualities into your own life. Now, again, you're going to need pen and paper, and you're probably going to want to pause the podcast after some of these steps in order to take time to actually do the exercise. And that's okay. All right. So step number 1, I want you to choose 3 people whose legacies inspire you. Now, I was able to immediately come up in my life with 3 names that were top of mind right away. These could be for you historical figures, contemporary leaders like they were for me. All 3 of mine were people living today who I've had the chance to meet, or at least 2 of the 3 I've had the chance to meet, family members, or even fictional characters, if that's your thing. Now, step number 2, once you've identified 3 people whose legacies you admire, research and write down key aspects of their legacies. What are they known for? What values did they embody? How did they impact the world or the people around them? So if you're doing these exercises, this is a place where you want to hit pause and, again, research and write down key aspects of their legacies. And once you've done that, go on to step 3. And step 3 is reflect on why these legacies inspire you. Is it their creativity, their commitment to social change, or their leadership style, perhaps? And step 4 is to draw parallels between the qualities of your role models and your own life, focusing on how you can emulate these same qualities. Now, let's say the trait you admire most in one of your chosen role models is creativity. For instance, if your role model is a renowned artist, a writer, or innovator known for their creative genius, let's say, reflect on what aspects of their creativity inspire you. Is it their unique perspective on the world, their ability to think outside the box, or their fearless expression of ideas? Now think about how you can incorporate this creative spirit into your own legacy. Perhaps you can start by challenging conventional ways of thinking in your field, or engaging in creative hobbies or side projects that ignite your imagination, or even adopting a more innovative approach to problem solving in your personal and professional life. For example, if you're in a leadership role, you might encourage creative thinking within your team by hosting brainstorming sessions where unconventional ideas are welcomed. Or if you're an educator, you might design lessons that allow your students to explore and express their creativity. The key is to find ways to integrate this admired trait of creativity into your daily actions and long-term goals, shaping a legacy that not only reflects your admiration for this quality, but also demonstrates it in your own life and work. Doing this exercise not only provides inspiration, but also offers practical ways to incorporate these aspirational qualities into your own legacy-building efforts. This one relates to question 2, where we talked about visualizing the future. Here's the question again. Imagine it's 50 years from now. What would I want people to remember about me? I want you to write a letter to the future. This is an exercise in visioning and communication, allowing you to articulate your legacy as if it's already been achieved. Okay? Step 1 is this. Imagine it's 50 years from now or 30 years from now, whatever makes sense. You're writing a letter to a younger family member, a future generation, or even a younger version of yourself. Step 2, describe the legacy you've left. Be specific. Have you built a successful business that's positively impacted your community? Have you nurtured a loving, supportive family? Have you contributed to a significant advancement in your field? Now, step 3 is to share the lessons you've learned and the values you've upheld. And finally, reflect on the impact of your actions and decisions as step 4. How have they shaped the world of the lives of those around you? Now, this exercise is going to allow you to clearly articulate your vision for your legacy, serving as a powerful motivator to achieve it. Now, this final exercise is not necessarily tied to one of our questions, but I think it's definitely one worth attempting. It's about creating a life timeline. It's not just plotting out major life events. It's about understanding how these events have shaped your vision of your legacy. 5 steps to this one. Step 1, take a large sheet of paper and draw a line across it. Now, mark your birth at one end and the present day at the other. So you're going to want to turn the sheet of paper in landscape mode, if you know what I mean. Get out that pen and draw that line across the center of the paper. On the left side, your birth. On the right side, present day. Now, step 2, plot out the significant moments in your life, both the highs and the lows. These could include things like career milestones, personal achievements, challenging times, or moments of revelation. Now, step 3, reflect on each of these moments. How did they shape who you are? How did they influence your goals and your values? This might be a great place to pause the podcast again while you consider that, and then come back for step 4. Step 4 is identifying patterns or themes that you've noticed. Are there recurring values or interests? For example, have you consistently helped others in times of need, or have you been a pioneer in your field? And then step 5, use these insights to inform your legacy. Understanding your past helps you chart a more purposeful future, right? It might even highlight a lifelong passion for teaching or dedication to artistic expression, for example. And the cool part about it, this timeline becomes a visual narrative of your life's journey and the legacy that you're shaping. It's a powerful reminder of where you've been and where you're heading. So 5 questions to ponder, and then 3 exercises. That should be enough to keep you busy for a few days, I think. And again, open invitation if you want to join us on Thursday, January 18th. When I say us, I mean me and other members of the Read to Lead community. You are more than welcome to join us with that free 2-week trial of a Read to Lead Plus membership. Just go to jeffbrown.me to find out more about that. We'll be talking through some of these questions and exercises on Thursday, even sharing some of our answers with one another. But the only way to get invited is to go to jeffbrown.me and sign up for a free 2-week trial of Read to Lead Plus. One more time, that's jeffbrown.me. Well, more about this episode, including the questions I mentioned, the exercises I talked about, can be found on the show notes page for this episode. That's at readtoleadpodcast.com/510 for episode 510. And again, next week on the show, we welcome back for the at least 5th time Todd Henry as we discuss his new book, and a self-published book this time around, called The Brave Habit, a guide to courageous leadership. That's, again, next time on the Read to Lead podcast. That's it for this week. Hope to see you next time. Until then, as always, remember, leaders read and readers lead.